What's up, guys? If you thought you knew every crazy phase the mutants have ever been through, get ready. Today, we are diving straight into X-Men, Outback number 1. For those who don't remember, the Australian phase, or Outback era, was one of the most iconic and darkest moments of the 80s. The entire world believed the X-Men were dead, and they were operating in complete secrecy straight out of the Australian desert. But what happens when the past comes knocking and their greatest enemies realize Wolverine and the crew might actually be alive? The story begins by establishing the massive secret of this era. On television, we see a recap of what the public currently knows. The X-Men went to war against an ancient evil entity known as the Adversary. To defeat him, the mutant inventor Forge had to transmute the X-Men into pure energy. A supreme sacrifice that banished the Adversary but apparently killed the entire team. Forge was branded a murderer by the media, but the TV anchor questions with pure media cynicism, "Where's the body?" The X-Men are sitting on a beach somewhere. Little do they know. We leave the television screens behind and travel straight to the freezing, snow-covered Canadian Rockies. This isolated cabin was once the home of Logan and his great love, Silver Fox. And who's standing right there? None other than his worst nightmare, Victor Creed, Sabretooth. He just completely ripped apart a real Wolverine, an actual animal, thinking it would satisfy his bloodlust. But he looks down at the dead beast and says, "Just ain't the same, ain't none of it the same." Creed knows the rumors. He heard the news saying the runt Wolverine and the X-Men are dead. But he kneels close to the animal's corpse, takes a classic, deep sniff, and realizes, it just don't smell right. Sabretooth's apex predator instincts are telling him that Logan is still breathing out there somewhere. He steps inside the abandoned cabin. Everything is dark, dusty, but his sense of smell never fails. He catches the trail. He knows Logan has been here recently. The scent is nice and fresh. He gnashes his teeth in pure rage and swears to himself, "You were here, Logan. I knew it. You don't die. You're soft friends, maybe, but I'll find ya. Don't care how long it takes. There ain't no hidden." And that's when Sabretooth remembers a twisted, macabre detail. Wolverine's birthday is coming up. And if you know classic Marvel lore, you know Sabretooth has a sadistic tradition of hunting Wolverine down on his birthday just to ruin his life or kill someone he loves. He clenches his bloody fist and barks. And, this year, we're gonna celebrate like never before.
Alright, moving into the main story titled Old Feud, New Blood, written by Steve Orlando with fantastic art by Stephen Segovia. We cut directly to Quatermans Creek, Australia. The mutant teleporter gateway gazes down upon a literal ghost town. This place was once the high-tech base of the cybernetic Reavers, but it's now under brand new mutant management. But while the base is secure, the X-Men themselves are dealing with heavy emotional baggage. Inside the local tavern, Havok, Madeline Pryor, and Psylocke are trying to drown their worries in some drinks. Betsy Braddock questions how her Gimlet tastes, while Havok notes that even though they are faking their deaths, the grief they feel for the life they left behind is oddly real. Meanwhile, the indestructible artist Colossus sits quietly at a table, turning inward, completely lost in his own mourning. Welcome back, true believers. We are jumping straight into the climax of this issue as the battle lines are completely shattered. Wolverine is caught in a berserker rage, blood dripping from his claws, screaming into the sky. The rest of the X-Men are in absolute shock. Longshot mutters, "So much for eating lunch." Dazzler replies, "Or anything. Ever again." Rogue runs forward, shouting to the team that he's still raging and that it isn't him, or at least she hopes it isn't. Before anyone can stop her, Storm flies directly into the chaos. Longshot screams, "Storm no. He'll tear you apart." Instead of attacking, Storm uses the ultimate weapon, leadership and empathy. She looks directly at the feral mutant and says, "The animal, perhaps, would lash out. But that's not what I see. We have been here before. Have we not?" On the edge, she tells him not to fear the brink, but to look over his shoulder where his friends await him. She steps closer, saying, "You could hurt me, Logan. You will not. Step back from that brink. Close the animal's eyes. Awaken the man, to the sight of open arms. And it works." Logan's blood-soaked hand trembles, his claws retract, and he collapses to his knees. He looks up at her and gasps, "Good to see ya, ho, can't think of anyone better to bring me home." Face it, Storm. Ya got a talent for the wounded. That's why it's your team. That's why we need ya at the head of the table, in the lead.
With the internal crisis averted, the team addresses the threat of Sabretooth, who lies defeated on the ground. Dazzler and Longshot talk about how they aren't used to just hiding out here. Colossus asks Elizabeth where she is going, and Psylocke firmly replies, "To work, Peter. We've been gifted a new chance at life, maybe even a peaceful one. That's a fragile thing, and something to protect. Sabretooth is one of the Marauders. His death could bring them here. He'll heal, but he cannot know of this place." She steps up to Victor Creed's body, her psychic butterfly energy glowing fiercely. She declares that Gateway will drop him far away, adding, "But a touch of telepathic surgery will ensure this animal has no recollection of today. Or us. All will be as it was. And if Sabretooth does manage to darken our door again, he will pay a much higher price than his memory." The narration tells us her words are calm and strong, like satin steel. Later that night, under a brilliant full moon, Storm stands atop a rocky cliff. Logan walks up and says, "Penny fair thoughts, R.O.?" She smiles, replying that she has heard that before and tells him, "Buyer beware." Logan chuckles, saying he's good for it after today. Storm opens up, noting that the rest of the team is still uneasy. Dazzler misses the glitz. Maddie wants to belong. Havok is mourning past kills. Psylocke sees liability. Colossus wants a rebirth. Longshot is hiding. And Rogue is wrestling with thoughts that aren't hers. But Logan looks at her and says this newfound anonymity doesn't need to be a cage. It's a chance to carve out true lives and defend their kind like never before, as a rumor, as a myth. Logan tells her, "What'd I tell ya? If buildin' a myth, one thing tends to come in handy." Storm's eyes begin to glow with pure electricity as she smiles and says, "I see. Very well, Logan, if it is a goddess you seek." Quote. Lightning tears through the sky with a massive crackdoom. Storm hovers in the air, completely overflowing with elemental power, and delivers her final line.
"It is a goddess you shall have." And that wraps up this section of the comic. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more comic breakdowns just like this. See you in the next video.